listen, we weren't going to fight. I wasn't going to fight, and I didn't want to be disrespectful. So, I mean, if that's how the estate felt, I think it was really about money. I think, I don't think that they thought that we would just, say, okay, no problem. We respect your feelings on this. And again, wanting to be respectful, but you're right. I mean, it's like, gosh, I know I always feel, when they have the Grammys and the Academy Awards and somebody wears a beautiful dress and the next day, you can buy the dress online from a manufacturer. I mean, there's so many things, and, even in what we do, there's nothing that I've done that hasn't been done. It's really in the application that you create this sort of a more an original idea. And I've been copied, and I think that's, I think it's flattering, right? And hopefully somebody was able to find another way to do it. Think of all the songs that get covered. I mean, well, which version do you like? It's like, and it creates this longevity. I mean, for me, I thought it brought new life back into this idea that that was, what I thought were, outstanding images, but relevant to the space, right? It's not like I went and, I'm not saying I would go buy the painting and put it, but in that space, it really made the room. I mean, it really stood out. And I think it was, and it was our way too of sort of trying to, again, combine this idea of art and architecture. I mean, we have hawks in our lobby, we have local artists. We hired a photographer to shoot local vagabonds. We had nothing but vagabonds that were shot. We commissioned, 5 or 6 local artists to do pieces. The mosaics in the bottom of the pool. The mermaid at the bottom of the pool was so damaged because they had filled the pool with concrete instead of sand. And so we had to rebuild the mermaid, and we hired an artist to do an artist edition. Thankfully, there was enough of her left. So that is, that's art. The dolphins are original. The front fountain was a Cuban artist. We reached out, he had passed away, but we let his daughter know that the fountain was restored. Very funny because, everybody's like, we have the copper tone sign across the street, and, sometimes somebody had said it's kind of scandalous, it's vintage MIMO, right? They had saved the sign and it's iconic, and everybody's like, oh, it's inappropriate because shows the bottom of a little girl or something like that. And I was like going, gosh, really? I'm like, and then I'm thinking the Vagabond, we would never get approval for the artwork. We've got a mermaid at the bottom of the pool that's got a breast showing, and I've got 3 naked nymphs in the front fountain. I mean, there's nothing politically correct about it. And, I'm convinced that we would probably be denied. And, to think of all the kids that had learned to swim in that pool and it's like, so sometimes people just take things just too far. But, but Vagabond was an opportunity. The signage there is, the neon signs. I mean, think about it. Neon is art. We made a big push. I remember I was doing the signs, and I met an old mayor, Manny Diaz. We stayed friends through the years, and all the great things they did, in Midtown and downtown, and big fan. And I of that administration. And, so Manny and I were getting together, and he's like, Avra, so what are you working on? I said, well, I'm buying the Vagabond. And he kind of got a little choked up. And he said, Avra, when we came over on the boats from Cuba, 3 families in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, nobody had any money. And on Sundays, they'd drive up and down the boulevard to look at the neon lights. That was their entertainment. Imagine the 50s and 60s coming down US 1. There was a lot of hotels that aren't there, unfortunately, with these big neon signs, pick me, vacancy, vacancy. Then it was color TV and AC. I mean, it was colorful, and it was trying to lure, there was no booking.com, right? And so after that meeting, because everybody was saying, well, we should do LED, it's more sustainable and everything. And after I had that meeting with him, I said, we are absolutely doing neon. And ever since then, Miami's kind of owned that. Every time we do our buildings, we bring back the neon. We just lit up the Noxon. We just lit up the gold dust. I mean, that was the art. I mean, we're back to the architectural significance of the buildings. And I know, like some people, mid-century. And sometimes with preservation, it's the assemblage of the buildings, not just a standalone building. Vagabond by itself, standalone. we are actually nationally designated. I went to the trouble to get it nationally designated because it really met those standards. But, you know, as a district is sometimes the assemblage. And I think for our district, it is the signage that is really probably sort of that defining characteristic. So we've really pushed in MIMO to you know, ask property owners that when they're doing their signage to do it in neon. And I think that's, you know, part of the branding of that, of, you know, that period, and certainly for preservation.